going to be covering today is really, we're going to be covering basically how to know when to keep a high performing ad versus when to cut slash remove an underperforming ad, as well as like the types of audiences we want to create for testing, and getting more into like audiences itself, understanding like, you know, what's the build out for that and everything along those lines.
Sounds great.
So we've given this since, I believe it's Friday. We've given this about 5 days, I believe.
No, I released them on Sunday.
Oh, okay, perfect. That's fine. 3 days.
But it took like up to 24 hours for some of them to get approved. Some of them
Okay.
were approved right away, and then they just kind of trickled in throughout the day, Monday.
Yeah, 24 hours is usually their maximum, but that should be normal. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So it looks like right now we have one website scheduled call. Looks like it's at $1.39 right now. Did you end up receiving this? Did they end up taking this?
Yes, he did schedule a call that was yesterday, and he was a no close, so he just didn't have the money or whatever his excuse was, but
Okay.
his objection. But yeah, he did take.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is, the idea is we want to see about basically anything. If we can get, like, if this ad specifically has like 3 scheduled, right? And then let's just go ahead and assume that none of these have a single scheduled. That's automatically going to pinpoint that this ad's already like outperforming any of the others. And basically, like right now, you see how it says it's $36.60.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's how much it costs us per website schedule. But the moment we only focus on the number 1 performing ad, like if this one had 3 and there was 0 on all of them, and we removed every single ad but this one, and our cost was only $1.39, that would mean that, you know, we're booking calls for $1.39. Like right now we might be paying 36, but the moment we start cutting these, the average is going to fall down to our high performing average. Does that make sense?
Sort of. I mean, calls booked at $1.39 is really, 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 really cheap.
Exactly. And that's what we're going for. We want to find the ones that are around $1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove this one. It doesn't have any results. We're going to remove this one. We're going to remove anything that doesn't have results, right? And we're only going to focus on the one that's working. But right now, since we only have 1 submission, we can't really do that because like that doesn't give us enough data. So what we're going to do is we're going to make more audiences to really be able to find out which one works the best.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't seem like enough data just to start switching them off.
Yeah. And so also what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to duplicate engagement. So like, let's see if this has any engagement. Okay. Not yet.
There is one ad that has a few different comments on the bottom.
Let's see. Post reactions, post saves. Right here. Here we go. So when we duplicate this ad, it'll actually show that engagement's still there in another audience.
That's not the one. There is one where the teddy bear one that has a couple of comments on it. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to basically put this ad in different audiences and keeping these comments, basically meaning we're going to reach more people and we're going to get more comments on this exact same post, and it's not going to cost you any more money. It's actually going to get cheaper when we do it, which is really nice.
I'm all about that.
Okay, so right now we left this audience open. Last I remember that there was nothing actually, we wanted to make sure that we left it open other than the fact that we chose men only.
I did have one woman that registered for my training, or clicked on the ad and hit my autoresponder.
Right. Yeah, that's likely because there's an unknown section that, you know, people get marked as that just don't give out their, their gender. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, since we have this many ads, let's see how many you ended up creating. 27. We're going to duplicate this audience. So you simply just press duplicate.
What audience?
We're going to duplicate this one, and then we're going to change the audience itself.
Oh, okay. So it's like 100 million people though?
We're going to duplicate it because we want all of these ads in the next audience as well.
Oh, okay.
So
it just showed all men without any.
We're going to change the audience type, but we're going to keep all the engagements on all the other ads.
All of them, or just the ones that are actually getting responses?
All of them right now, because we need more data. And this is going to give us a lot more data. And it's also going to increase the amount of people who submit. So we're going to choose existing audience because we want to duplicate this audience with the exact same ads. We don't want to change the campaign because we want it underneath the ad set. Because if we ever decide to switch to campaign budget optimization, I'm not sure if you're familiar, it will make our lives a lot easier in the future. And I'll talk more about that on another call. So we're going to duplicate this. And we'll change the name later. The daily budget looks like it's at 10. We'll leave it at 10. Everyone in this location, we're going to keep it at that. We'll keep the English, we'll keep the age. The only thing we're going to do is we're actually going to change the custom audience. So what we really want to do is hit create new. And we want to make it to where we're targeting people who are basically a lot more qualified than just an open audience. Open audiences are good for testing purposes, and they actually end up becoming your best audience over the long term. But you know, if we're wanting to do things over the short term, we're going to want to focus on like audiences that are going to be quick wins for us.
I have a question for you on that.
Yes.
Is there a way to narrow down a more qualified individual, dare I say, with money?
Yes, it is possible. Right now, the thing is we're going to choose, basically, it's going to be really nice once we have a lot more data, but there's no actual interest-based targeting that's really going to work for income because they removed income. It's all household income, which I mean, a household income, it's really zip code based, which is like, you know, you're targeting the top zip codes, which is just, it's not as effective as you would think it is. So what we want to do is basically, you know, segment all of the people who mark on either your form or have become, you know, qualified individuals separately, which I'll show you with the conversions, and we'll end up making a separate audience with those people because they're going to automatically have, you know, a larger income.
Okay. I don't quite see what you mean, but I'll trust you.
So the first thing we want to do is duplicate, and then we'll choose customer. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to end up choosing website traffic. And the first audience we'll do is we're going to do 30 days, and we're going to do all website visitors. And we'll end up just like, you know, naming this website visitors, and we'll do parentheses 30 days.
So you spell visitors right, but that's all right.
We'll spell it correctly. Uh-oh, visitors. So website visitors, anybody who's visited the website within 30 days. We'll create this audience. And then the moment that's created, we're going to hit create new. We're going to create a lookalike because we actually don't want the custom audience in there because we don't care if they've visited the website. We just want to target people who are similar to them that have visited the website.
Do you have to have enough or more data to create a lookalike audience? It seems pretty small to be able to do that.
As long as it's over 100, we'll be fine. Ideally, we want more than 1,000, but 100 is fine because it's actually going to end up, you know, growing. Because the cool thing about these lookalikes are the more people who visit these audiences will actually change on their own.
How is that possible?
Because, you know, if we have 1,000 new visitors come in within the next 30 days, it's going to find people who look similar to those 1,000 people. You know, the next 30 days, the 1,000 people who visit your site are going to be different from, you know, the last 1,000 people who visited your site. It's not, unless we only have identical people every time visiting your site, your audience will always be changing in your lookalikes.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And that's really good too, because when we have audiences that are changing, you want that because when we start scaling and applying rules, we want an audience that can dynamically change because we're going to be getting more qualified individuals, and the more qualified they become, the better our audiences get on their own. So it's going to save you time from having to make any changes.
Okay.
So we're going to want to opt for lookalikes mainly. We'll include everyone in this location because you said, you know, you can do business with anybody in the US. We'll keep English, and then we'll keep the age range.
Now, later on, Chase, can we go outside of the US, and would we have to stay?
Absolutely. We can always go outside of the US. If you want to do business in other locations, 100%. We'll leave automatic placements. We'll do 7 days click conversions, and we'll hit publish after we rename it. Usually what I do is for the rename, I'll just copy this. I'll literally just highlight it, copy, and paste it right here. Does that make sense? So now you know what audience it is.
Okay.
And we'll hit publish, and this is going to duplicate every single ad you have, and it's actually going to keep the exact same engagements on them. So now you're going to be reaching double the people, and you're going to keep the exact same engagement. So what most people do is they usually just end up creating a separate audience and then recreate their ads a lot of times, and they lose their engagement, which ends up, costing them more dollars than it should.
I've heard that strategy before. I've never done what you're doing before, though.
Perfect. And that should be publishing. So now we should see this one's in review. So it's going to review. And the good thing is they'll get approved because they're the same ads that have been approved here. And now some of these ads, I believe this one, let's see which one had the comments on it. So it says control number 2. So if we end up going to our lookalike and we just find control number 2 that has bear pick, conversions, long copy. See, we're in our lookalike and it actually kept the comments.
Gotcha.
So now people in this audience who see this ad, we're actually starting with engagements. So imagine, having 1,000 likes and creating a new audience. Like, you're not even going to have to earn those likes anymore. You're just going to be able to place this ad wherever you want, and people are going to see that there's been thousands of engagements. So the idea is we want to keep this growing as much as possible. Just keep growing the social engagement. And so now that we have these two audiences, now we're going to be able to test. And we're going to go ahead and want to create another audience. So we'll just go ahead and duplicate this one, the one that we just created.
You duplicate the duplicate?
Exactly. Just duplicate it again.
Okay.
And
existing campaign?
Yeah. And we're going to want to make sure we choose the right one. It's called schedule calls. So we'll duplicate schedule calls. And you see how it says show existing post engagements right there?
Yeah.
Quick.
Keep it selected.
Yeah, exactly. We'll keep the daily budget at 10.
Is that enough?
That's fine. Yeah. And because it's going to end up becoming a lot actually when we remove ads. So think about every time we remove an ad, basically a larger piece of the budget is going to go towards the ads we keep. So it's going to it'll have a nicer effect as we start cutting ads. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to hit create custom audience website traffic. And we're going to basically, we're going to go through all the events that you have. We'll do submit application, schedule, and I believe those are the main events you have, correct? And the view content as well.
That sounds right. Yeah. I know the submit app and the schedule one. I don't know about the view content.
I believe the view content's when they view your scheduled form before they actually schedule.
The questionnaire. Okay.
So we'll do the schedule one. We'll do 30 days and we'll just, name it schedule and then parentheses 30 days. And this just lets us know that it's been 30 days. And now we would do more than 30 days, but we need more than 30 days timeline for us to be able to do that. We're going to want to do 30 days. We're going to want to do 60 days. We're going to want to do 90, 120, and 180. You can go to 180. See how it says 180? So like the moment, like we pass 30 days, you got to go in here, you got to create 60 days and duplicate it, create the 60 days and test it because, the longer we get of data, the better audience is likely to get. In most cases, 30 days is best, and 180 days is best. Really, anything but in between is just like worth testing to find out if it works, if that makes sense.
Testing, testing, testing. That's what they always say.
Yes, and then we'll do.
Does it work? I don't know. Test it.
Create lookalike, schedule, United States, create audience. And if you do different countries, you'll just select the other country that you want to target people in. And if you want to afterwards, just go ahead and, repeat this process, except do it for a different country. Just make sure you leave out the United States.
I was thinking Canada.
Yeah, there you go, Canada. That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have a lookalike for this one of your scheduled 30 days. And we'll just copy this once again. And we'll paste it up here. And we'll just do -min. So we know. Expand interest, yes. Automatic placements, yes. And publish. Now you have three audiences all targeting the exact same ads. People are going to see the engagements. Your engagements are likely to triple now. And now what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up finding an ad that works way better than all the other ones a lot faster, which is really good.
Okay. Is that enough to get the data that you're looking for, the three audiences, or do we need a fourth, fifth?
Yes. So it is enough, but what you want to do afterwards is going to create like 2 more audiences, one of your submit applications, and then one of your view contents, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like you want to have one of each event that you have. So now that we have these 3 audiences, you're going to want to create those other 2 that we just referenced, as well as now we need to like understand, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to find out basically what ads are going to be working best a lot sooner. And how we identify that is basically just looking at, which ad ends up having the highest amount of scheduled calls. So you just rank it and it'll put it at the top. And then the second thing you want to look for is instantly look for the cost, because if like your highest one is like, 10, but your cost is like 200, but your second one's like 9, but the cost is only $1, like clearly the second one's better, because it's like only $1 when you're paying 900 for this one and 90 for this one. So it's like a huge difference. So we want to choose the one that has the highest amount of submissions, but the lowest cost. And then what we do is we can also notice like there'll be times where you won't have any scheduled calls, but you'll see that like, you see how this says registrations, leads, content views. Some of these might have like 10 or 15 content views, you can hover over them and it'll show it to you. Like this one has 2 website registrations completed. Okay.
Okay. That's the little dash mark there.
Yeah. If you just hover over it, it'll show you what conversions happen with this ad.
Okay.
And what will end up happening is you'll notice that maybe this ad specifically, like this exact headline, the one that says conversions, no button, short copy, online meeting URL, 1 dash copy, will actually have like, if you click ads and you hit, rank it by results, you might see it like 5 times in a row because we're ranking it by results. And if it's there like 5 times, like that's like an early on sign that like, hey, this ad specifically is going to end up winning, because it's our top 5 placements. Even though it might have, 0 submissions, it's still going to end up becoming the best performer. Like you could basically predict the future off of it just by checking like, hey, all of these are getting registrations, only a matter of time before they start scheduling. So that's like a giveaway, it's a winner. But like the main goal is we need to cut losers. So how do you know it's losing? Basically, you just start scrolling to the bottom. It's the exact opposite. If you see like 5 or like a few of the exact same ads all bundled up at the very bottom, then you're just going to instantly turn them off. If they have 0 results, they have like $2, $5 spent on them, the cost is like almost double or triple what it's costing you to get a schedule, just turn them off instantly. Just don't even question it. Just like look at it and say, okay, that's like a dead giveaway. We have 3 of the exact same ads right here. We're just going to cut those.
Okay.
And the moment you cut those, your average cost is going to go down. Like this number will start lowering. And that's our goal.
Okay.
Because this number will start going up. So like, let's see. There you go. Prime example. You see this? We have this one that says 6-1 2019, 6-1 2019. Now these three are a little bit different on like what you have here, but it's a clear giveaway that like whatever this 6/1 means is like not working with one of these ads. Do you know what that is?
The ad itself?
Yeah, like what this might be referencing.
That, yeah, I know the landing page that it goes to. Yeah, that's just short copy. I know which one it is.
Okay.
If you look, you see wait, open that back up. You see my name right there above renew. Yeah, there. Yep.
Yes.
That's not going to the online meeting ones.
Okay, let's see. So that's taking them to, it's taking them to renew.
Yep.
Renew. Renew. Okay, let's see what this one is up here. Let's see what this one. Okay, that one's also renew. Okay, that one's online. So it looks like these three right here, like I would honestly say like we cut these three already. Even like you see how like little there is of data for us to make this decision. But in this case, we're able to basically predict the future before the data even comes in, just by knowing that like the moment all three of these are getting jumbled up, like that's it at the very bottom. Remember how we ranked it from top to bottom?
On results.
Exactly. And the moment we notice there's like a whole group just lined up at the bottom, that's like, 98% positive these aren't going to end up breaking out as a winner. So we just would turn these off. You mind if I turn these off?
Sure, go ahead.
So we turn these three ads off.
I did have a question related to that as well.
Okay.
My developer is right now, as we speak, creating 3 new landing pages that are near duplicates, almost exactly the same as the ones that have the online meeting.
Okay.
So the landing page looks exactly the same. It functions exactly the same. I'm getting rid of the webinar service that I have. Just driving traffic straight to landing page, enter their information, and then the next page is the training, the webinar itself, on a thank you page. And then right there below that is the button to book a call that takes them to the scheduler page.
Right.
So I'm trying to eliminate the webinar service because Jay is telling me that more and more and more people, men, are not seeing the training. They're not A, watching it at all, or B, they're not seeing it because of technical issues. And so I'm like, well, why am I paying for a webinar service if their follow-up emails are not working correctly? They're having issues on Androids. I've heard it multiple times, and it's even
on
in
Android.
On Android, they can't see the webinar on Androids, but they can on just about any other device.
Okay, then why don't we remove Android to start with?
I don't know. Is that too early?
I think it is a little early, but also if you've heard it multiple times, like more than like 3 or 4 people have said it, then, maybe we want to go ahead and just remove Android as a option anyways.
Yeah.
And then like the moment like people, we remove Android, they'll be like, as soon as we start seeing people commenting like, oh, this doesn't work for Android, I wish they had this video for Android, then like we just create a separate campaign and create an Android one and test and see it again.
and drive them to that page instead of the webinar page?
Right. Yeah. You just create 2 separate campaigns, one for Android users and then one for iOS.
Right. Okay. That's an idea. So let's not cut anything just yet. Let's just see how it plays out. Because I don't know if we have enough data to really start doing
For
that.
Android?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, on the webinar platform, there's a section there where they can ask questions. And so people email me, or they type in a question. And when you type in a question, I immediately get an email, and the emails always say, I can't watch it. It doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. So I always respond back and send them the replay page, which is not the thank you page. It's totally different. So
right.
like, oh. And then they watch it and then they book a call, but it's obviously a lot more manual and not so automated.
I could pull up an example for you on another ad account that where we had that exact same problem. It wasn't working for Android. We just like totally removed that Android as an option. And then like a week later, we had like a colossal amount of comments saying like, why isn't this available for Android? And we created a separate campaign for Android. And now it's like one of the best performing ones just by like separating iOS from Android users. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. I'm with you.
If you want to see that, just let me know and I'll pull that up.
Sure, why not?
We'll do that. Yeah, it's trying to load. As soon as it does load, I'll show you. But back to what I was saying about the ad. So like you see how these 3, are those the same 3? This one's the same, that one's the same. Oh yeah, that's also the same. And then this one, it looks like. So we have these ads that these are the 3 we cut, remember?
Yeah.
So like we're automatically not even going to consider them for the next audience. We're just going to save money like right now and like just improve performance before we even like launch these. Because if they're not going to work here, they're likely not going to work in the other audience. There is a chance that they would perform better based off of, maybe this audience is completely different and they might react differently. But typically it just doesn't. Like usually like you'll find that one ad ends up actually working in almost all audiences. In a lot of cases, like one message will resonate best with everyone. So typically we just turn these off if that's all right.
Sure.
So we'll remove these.
What's up with a little caution triangle?
It'll disappear in a second. There it goes, it's gone. So now we're automatically going to prevent any unsuccessful results from happening on these ads. So we've already like decided on a loser and we've cut them. And we've also noticed, one winner. It would be best if we saw that one specific ad like multiple times at the top. But in most cases, it's best if we see like, 3 of the exact same ads all in one spot, if that makes sense.
Okay. So how do you do that again? I guess I missed that part. How do you keep all the ads in one spot? Because aren't they already?
Yeah, so you can click ads right here.
Yeah.
And like have them, you see how it says 81 ads, all your ads are going to show up here.
Yeah, okay.
And just, select active. Ad delivery is active because we only want the active ads.
Okay.
And we rank it by results. And then basically if we get any more than 3 at the top, we're going to rank it by, make sure that it's ranked in terms of like results, not the opposite direction. That would be really scary if you did it the wrong way. As soon as we see more than 3, that's basically like a sign that, you have a high performing ad in this group. Okay.
Right.
So we have like 2 right here. It looks like they're pretty similar. We don't have a group of 3 yet, but at the bottom, we did notice there was like a group of 3, all because they had like a specific, there's a specific thing about them. I guess it was a link we ended up finding out that wasn't showing to be a high performing with that specific image. Now that link might work with this photo, but with this photo, it doesn't. So if there's 3 of them all at the very bottom, and there's like no results. There's just nothing about them. Like, we don't have link clicks on these, but we've shown them to this many people. We'll just cut them right then and there. And if we cut it for one audience, we're going to cut it for another audience. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And when we cut that, it's going to lower our average. So now we're looking at this month. If we go to like, let's say it's been 2 days, we'll literally just do like, let's say we cut those on Monday. We're only going to look at Tuesday and Wednesday's results. Okay. Reason we do that is because we don't want to include the results from the days that we cut ads, because our average hasn't lowered yet, right? Our average can only lower after we cut something the following 48 hours because it's not around. And now what you'll see is it's been 48 hours and look, the cost per result's already like lower. This will actually happen in like 48 hours. You'll see it go down even more. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to weigh your performance no more than, no less than 48 hours. You always want like a 48-hour time frame. And you can just, select the last 2 days since you changed those edits and just look like, hey, look, my number's trending down and these results are getting better. But if you're always looking at things on a like this month basis, you're going to be looking at jaded results because you've made changes since, the beginning of the month. You've made a lot of changes.
Now, if the 1 or 2 performing ads are doing really well, how long do we run with it?
If they're like totally smoking the other ones, like these guys are the only 2 ads that, let's say, that have results and all the other ones are like just not even there, then we'll just cut all the other ones like right then and there. We'll just drop them all.
Well, I'm asking about like long term, like 6 months, 10 months down the road, stuff like that. How is that going to continue to
work
and do well? Yeah.
Yeah. So generally speaking, shelf life is like at minimum going to be like 6 to 8 weeks with like the number one we end up finding, and then like maximum, it's generally like around like 6 months, but best case scenario, like we have clients and people right now that are doing over 2 years. It's kind of crazy. But the important factor is we'll end up looking at this, but when we end up finding a number one high performing ad, we're going to make variations of, let's say this is the best performing ad,
Yeah.
We're going to make subtle variations of it by like duplicating it and just like making super, super small tweaks to it. Like just like, maybe
optimize
one word. Yeah, exactly. Maybe changing one button, basically just finding a little bit of each and everything about it, like just really identifying the best point and changing it just ever so slightly until we get like something that's just wildly producing like crazy numbers.
So you're split testing still the exact same ad with subtle changes? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to do that, then does that split the budget up, just like it is now, and just kind of start allocating money towards the best performing one? Even though there are multiple ads,
the money will automatically go towards it.
Towards the better ones.
Right. Yeah. Because the moment we remove these, the budget is going to be shifted to the ones that are active.
Okay.
And it's going to choose the best one automatically.
Okay.
So
does it eventually exhaust the audience?
In terms of, so like audiences will last, depending on what your spend is, you can end up checking how long until you end up maxing out your audience. It usually, like with $10 daily, it's like, if you have lookalikes, it'd be hard to exhaust your audience at a $10 daily budget because, like I said, your audience is always changing. Now, a custom audience.
What about scaling though?
Same thing. If you're scaling with the lookalike, the audience is always going to be changing. So you'll be totally fine with scaling.
Okay.
Because you're going to be sending new people and more qualified individuals to your website. So,
right.
The lookalikes are automatically adjusting upon scaling, which is like the beauty of getting, all of the gold out of those audiences because they're always changing. That's like the great part about it.
If you have a specific targeted audience, that can be exhausted over time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. If you have like an interest-based or a custom audience, like for instance, like retargeting, if you have like 10,000 people in there, it's like you could probably exhaust that 10,000 people audience a lot faster than you could exhaust a 2 million audience.
Right.
So you always want to keep your retargetings like, you don't really want to scale your retargeting because it'll just keep scaling and then it's going to hit a cap always. Your retargeting will hit a cap.
Are we going to be going through retargeting at a later time?
Yes. Your retargeting specifically will be for view content and it'll only be a custom audience.
Okay.
It will be view content, custom audience, 5 days, $5 daily. And your message will be something like, hey, I saw you, we're trying to schedule something. You were trying to schedule a call, but you didn't finish scheduling. And then
click here to book.
Does that make sense?
Your microphone cut out for the last 10 seconds.
Sorry.
And then I heard a door close in the background.
Oh yeah, somebody was stopping by for a second. Okay, so registration is completed. That is email submitted, I believe, or?
Yeah, there's not 10. There wasn't that many people.
Do we remember what the pixel was for that instance? Let's see.
I don't know how to look it up, so.
So we'll go here and we'll go to pixels.
Right. I know how to get there. I just don't know what we're looking for.
Your pixel's not wanting to show up for me. That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, but what we'll end up doing is we'll just end up selecting your pixel just to identify what registrations completed means. This is likely emails. I'm going to go ahead and assume. So it looks like this is exactly what you want. You see this diverging chart? Anytime you see a number like this going, like let's say emails submitted are going up, but your registration cost is going down, that's like the most beautiful instance you can have. Like this is like a good trend right here.
Okay.
Like this is exactly what you want to look for. And as soon as you see this, like you don't want to make any edits. Like the last thing you want to do is like make wild edits and totally, mess up this chart. This is a good sign right here. Like we want to keep it like this.
What is the green one? The green line?
One's cost. So like right here, June 3rd, we have $9.37 and then we have one submission. Okay, that's normal. Then the second day, we're looking at 2 submissions and we've already cut our cost in half.
Right. Yeah.
And then on the third day, we've more than doubled our submissions and lowered our cost by 5 times. Doubling submissions, lowering costs by 5 times on this day. That's like an amazing instance. That's like a tall tale sign that like, hey, we're heading in the right direction, and it's only a matter of time before within the next week we're going to be seeing results that are just like unbelievable, like stuff we've never seen before.
Okay, so hold on real quick. Let me look at the number of people who have registered because I'm looking at it. 1, 2. This is Rebecca. I don't know if I count Rebecca, but okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Chase Chapel is number 10.
Okay.
So 9. So maybe that is correct. I didn't
5,
that many.
7, 8, 9, 10, and it probably also counts me in here too.
It does, because I'm looking at the dates, and May 29th is when you registered on there, and that's the start. And nobody's, registered into my autoresponder for about 2 weeks before that because I stopped all the ads, obviously. So,
got it.
It starts with you on the 29th.
Okay. So yeah, so this is a great sign. We can also, we would like to check this with scheduled calls, but we're going to start looking at scheduled calls the moment we have like, a couple more scheduled calls here so we can actually see a trend like this happening, right?
Do you think we need to turn up the budget to start pumping more traffic to get results faster?
No, because we don't want to scale too early. What we want to do is horizontally scale because that's going to allow you to spend more money, get results, but it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg per result. The moment you start doing a linear scale, I'll show you what a linear scale is. When we start doing a linear scale, that's like a linear scale would mean like we're taking this from 10 to 100. That's going straight up, right? With the same audience.
Yeah.
That's increasing your budget if you want to do that, but that could totally mess with your results because that's going to happen too quickly.
I've done stuff like that before and they just tank.
Exactly. We want to take those with like slow and steady wins the race with these, but at the same time, we don't want to wait until, we're totally just like gone. Like it's like, run out of business before then. So what we do is we do a horizontal scale, which is meaning we can quite literally get to 100 daily spend within the same day just by choosing new audiences. Duplicate, change the audience type, duplicate, change the audience type. And you can create another 3 audiences right now, and you could get to 50 daily just by creating, lookalike view content. We don't have that one. And you could do a lookalike. It looked like this one would be a really good one. I forgot which one it was. It was registrations completed. Those would be 2 great lookalikes to test.
Do you want to do it right now? Do you want to just duplicate and do it?
I would like for you to try it so you can actually see the process. But other than that, you'll get to 50 daily, and then that'll be really good. And then the process in terms of like removing ads that like we don't want.
Okay.
And then you'll know, okay, also what are the high performing ads I have right now? Which right now it looks like this one's like your best one, but it's going to change the moment you get a few more submissions. So what we'll do is we want to give this about 48 hours for these adjust. From the moment of launch, realistically, we want them all to be approved first, but 48 to about 4 days, we need to check back in on these results and like really see, because a lot's going to start happening when you're spending $50 daily. And the moment, if you want to improve your results, what you can do is like a little small trick would be just like go to this, send notification to Facebook, open it up in Facebook, and then just like put a wow face or a love face on your likes. Like your engagement would just be like a wow or like one of those hearts. Does that make sense?
It does, but how do you do that again?
You'll press this button here, send notification to Facebook, or just press Facebook post with comments. It'll pull it up here.
Okay.
And then you'll just...
Is that weird if you like your own post?
Yeah. And then you'll just, put love or like a wow, like wow, and what the algorithm is going to do is going to be like, wow, somebody put a wow. And then it's going to like, somebody else is going to see the ad and it's going to show it more. And then somebody's going to be like, wow, somebody put a wow. And they're going to click on it. So it's going to increase conversions. We want more social proof always. Like that's always a good sign. So that's going to help a lot.
Okay.
So that's a quick way to just like help increase your conversions. It's just by giving yourself a wow or a love. I wouldn't do a like just because other people will do a like a lot sooner than they'll do a wow. But the moment you do one of those, like that's one of the harder ones to get. So you might as well give it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the basic things for like doing a horizontal scale, which is in terms of like, expanding our audiences, keeping the engagement, and then like identifying what ads don't work. And if you're going to cut an ad here, you're always going to want to cut in your other ones, unless maybe that ad's performing really well in this audience, but most likely it won't be. So we'll just cut it. And that's going to save you costs. It's going to increase your results, and you're going to be able to spend a lot more, save a lot more, and get a lot more results a lot quicker.
Okay, I understand. So I should not get rid of the webinar platform yet?
Not yet. Let's give it another few days because we're going to increase the amount of people going to it.
Okay.
There'll be people, the moment we start getting comments about it, that's like a good sign that like, hey, we've sent enough people, because now people are actually saying something about it.
Right. I'm thinking like on the front end, like we're focusing right now on the front end, the ad, that's the front, that's of the funnel. That's what people see. So if all I do is change the thank you page, because the landing page is gonna look exactly the same. And obviously the URL display is going to be different. It won't say online meeting, it'll say my website. And then after the / it's a different, different wording, because they just go to different landing pages. literally, I'm just eliminating the webinar platform, but the ad's the same, the landing page is the same, the scheduling page, the thank you page after you schedule, the survey page, those are all the same. The only thing different is A, they don't have to register for a time, and B, the thank you page after they enter their email just has the training right then and there instead of having to wait for some countdown timer and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm thinking about streamlining the whole process. That, and I don't want to pay for the webinar service if it's subpar. You know, if people are
let's
in it,
let's get some more people going to it. I'll give you a reason why. You want to see that example I was going to show you earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, so right here, we have an ad, and this is for app downloads, okay? So let's just pretend it's for like webinars. But in this case, when they go to download the app, we have people who say, I just had the comment, now I scrolled up.
Just do a quick word search, you'll find it right away.
App only available on iPhone. Serious people, like, they're pretty angry. I have an Android and I have downloaded it yesterday. This person, this ad actually takes them directly to the iOS, but it still includes the audience for Android. And, you know, if we just look at all these other different ads, there's going to be a lot of people who say like, hey, this doesn't work for Android, only available for iPhone. Well, that sucks. There's a lot of comments on each of these that just state that like, hey, we can't download this on Android, which they can, but they just can't access it because of this ad. So like we notice like, hey, maybe there is a audience size that's for Android. And even though they can't access it right now, maybe we should create like a separate audience. And so what we did was we created Android audience. And this one says Android. You see how it's titled Android? And right here, in some of these ads, it'll actually say for Android users only. So Android users. And it's actually like getting some of the lowest results in terms of cost. You'd have to go to $0.81, 69 cents, 60 cents, $1.30, 69. But like if you go down to the iPhones, like we're actually like pretty much in the same bid range. Like some of these are actually higher than the Androids. And like now this is targeting and it's only taking them to the Google Play Store, which is the Android download section. So like theoretically what we could do is like, we could just totally split your audiences, one for Android users and one for iOS, but test iOS only first, like just work with iOS until people are like finally just complaining and stating like, hey, we need this on Android, and then like solve the problem of like, okay, if this is going to work for Android users, what do we have to do either A, on a developer end? Do we need a separate landing page? Do we got to change it? How do we set it up in order for it to work for Android? And then you launch that audience. So that way we're not wasting results on people who just can't watch the video, period. Because if that's the feedback you're getting, let's leave the audience out until we can find a solution for it later.
My rebuttal to that, Chase, is why even go down that road? Why not just change it?
Yeah, and that's the exact same thing that we did here. We waited 3 months before we ended up making the switch. You can see right here that like these are June. Like these over here some of these have been running like back in March. That's over 2 months ago. I mean, like we didn't even go to Android until like 2 or 3 months later.
Right.
So like you could switch to Android. Like
why not just change get rid of the webinar platform and just change the thank you page after the registration page.
Like just like scale out your results and get one lane working really well, and then like the moment you're ready to scale even further, figure out a way.
Then I don't have to worry about what Android device they're on at all.
Exactly.
You know, I kind of like that idea better because I don't really want to overcomplicate it. I feel like if what we would do there is, you know, we split the audience and we test iOS versus Android. Is that getting too complicated, or should we just not segment it that way? Why does it matter what device they're on? Why not just focus on other parameters?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that can be one of the later things you do. It's totally like up to preference. I mean, like I said, like that's when we want to see if we have like comments of people stating it's just not working. Then we'll just leave them out at that point.